Hello and welcome to Mirabella's kitchen. Today I'm making chicken martini. Please check the description box for a list of ingredients if you'd like to follow along. I start by peeling 2 pounds of potatoes. I'm making this dish for 4 people, so it will seem like a lot of food today. After that, I squeeze 4 lemons. I take 3 crowns of broccoli and cut it into florets. I take the potatoes once they've been peeled and I quarter them. I'm quartering them because I want as much surface area exposed as possible before I boil them and mash them for the mashed potatoes, because I want to wash the starch off. You want to remove as much starch as possible when making mashed potatoes. And the reason you want to remove as much starch as possible is because the starch will affect the texture of the potatoes. I highly recommend over-the-sink strainers. Next, I move on to the chicken. So I have 4 total chicken breasts that I will prepare for this. I remove the fat, and I also will take the chicken and cut it horizontally into thinly sliced chicken breasts. You can ask for this to be done for you at the butcher or at the meat counter at your grocery store if you don't feel comfortable at this point with your knife skills to do this. After the chicken is cut, I tenderize it. Tenderizing helps release extra flavors and makes it even, so it's easier to cook the chicken through all the way at all the points in the chicken. And that's a good width of the chicken that you want. After it's tenderized, season it with salt and pepper on both sides. Next, I prepare the breading for the chicken. So I take about a cup of breadcrumbs. I like to use unseasoned breadcrumbs, plain breadcrumbs. And then I will also take a cup of grated Parmesan cheese. I whisk the breadcrumbs and Parmesan cheese together. And then I whisk 3 eggs. I'm using 3 eggs because of the amount of chicken I'm using. 1 to 2 eggs is fine if you're only using 2 chicken breasts. Once I'm starting the chicken, that's when I'm going to start the mashed potatoes. So I'm going to put the potatoes in a pot of water and add salt, bring it to a high boil, and I'm also going to get the oil for the chicken ready in the saute pan. And I use olive oil for this. Probably about 2 tablespoons of olive oil is good for the beginning. I coat both sides of chicken in egg and in the breadcrumb and cheese mixture, making sure to firmly pat the breadcrumbs and cheese on so it sticks pretty well to the chicken. And I add it to the hot oil away from myself to prevent the splattering of oil. Once the chicken has started to have white around the edges and going up the top, I flip it. You also want to see that nice golden brown color when you're ready to flip it. after 5 to 7 minutes on each side, or until it's 155 to 160 degrees Fahrenheit, you remove it from heat and set it aside. When I'm halfway through preparing my chicken, I start a pot of water to boil for the broccoli to blanch it. I've strained the potatoes. They've been cooking on high for probably 25 to 35 minutes. Strain the water. I return them to the pot because I like to prevent using more dishes, and I add 3 tablespoons of butter to the pot and cover it. After that butter is melted, I add salt and pepper, because the salt that you added to the water originally didn't all absorb into the potatoes. I add salt and pepper and start mashing the potatoes. Then I start adding milk. I prefer to use whole milk. Heavy cream is good, whatever milk you want to use. And so I probably start out with maybe 1/3 of a cup, and I mix it all together. I'm trying to get a certain consistency. And I add some more milk because I see that I'm not at that consistency yet. Once the pot of water for the broccoli is boiling, I add the broccoli to the water because I'm trying to blanch it, so cook it to a point before sauteing it. Get a man down. Lost broccoli in the back. And I blanch it for 3 minutes. I add 1 cup of dry white wine to a saucepan and put it over medium heat. I also have a 1/4 cup of vegetable oil heating up over medium heat. I add a tablespoon of garlic to that once the vegetable oil is hot, but you have to be careful because I added it when it was too hot, and you can see that it's sputtering and spitting. So I turn the heat down to medium low at this point. I don't want the garlic to burn. I'm trying to prevent it from burning. And I start to add the broccoli, but my problem is there's some water still on the strainer, and it gets into the oil and starts sputtering and spitting, and I get some burns on my arm, so you want to be really careful with that. I ended up just hand putting it in to prevent that and turn the heat down to low. I mix the broccoli around in the oil and garlic, lose another piece in the process. Then I add about a tablespoon of butter to melt into the broccoli. Once the wine has been simmering for a bit, I add the lemon juice. And I add 2 to 3 tablespoons of butter and start mixing it around to kind of get it all nice and melded into the sauce I'm making. I check the broccoli at this point. It's not easily removing from the fork. So I realize I need to steam it more, so I add some chicken stock to it and bring it up to a higher temperature to start steaming, and I also cover it with a lid. Once the butter has melted, that's when you know the sauce is finished. This is a thinner sauce. It's very bright, flavorful, very lemon forward. It mixes very well with the broccoli, with the potatoes, and obviously the chicken, and it's just beautiful. Top it with some fresh parsley or some dried parsley, and that's chicken martini. Thank you for joining me this week. I publish new videos on cooking every Wednesday.